Hello, everybody. This is Noah and John, and we are from Urban Digs, and it is Friday. So you're going to get your weekly Manhattan market update. John, let's get right to it. We're looking at supply. Everything is falling down, 6,544. Show me that chart.
Yeah, that is down 2%, another week in a row. And it's what you would expect to see for supply at the end of August here, Noah.
Yeah, if I'm a buyer, that's not what I want to see, but that is the nature or reality of our business and our seasonality to our business. That is down 11% from last month. That is down 5% from this time last year. And I'm going to shift to Manhattan demand, Johnny, pending sales. That grind lower is just in play, 3,539. Show me that chart.
Yeah, and if you're a seller, you don't necessarily want to see the pending sales have fallen nearly 5% week on week. But again, last week of August, so it's not terribly surprising.
Yeah, exactly. And if we put the pieces of the puzzle of supply and demand together, Johnny, we look at this market pulse. It is not really falling. It's already fell, but it's kind of stabilizing at this level because supply is falling along with pending sales, and these two are kind of Xing each other out. That's kind of what's going on over here. And if I go to the weeklies, Johnny, we can see just how slow it's getting. But this is seasonal slow. Very important to understand. I look at supply, 155 things, down 20%. Show me that chart.
That's exactly right. And I think in the next couple of weeks, we might start seeing a recovery in those weekly listings as we get past Labor Day and sort of getting a head start on that fall listing season. But for now, 155, we are at sort of the yearly lows here for new listings.
Yeah, and I'm going to shift over to weekly pace of contract signed. And guess what? It's higher than the weekly pace of supply. We're at 159, but we are down. Johnny, show me that chart.
Yeah, we're down 10%, but I think you hit the nail on the head with the important point is 159 contracts, 155 for new supply. So more contracts were signed this week than new listings were put out. And that's sort of an interesting turn of events for that last week of August. So I know contract signing gets really slow and listings also get really slow. It's interesting to see that inversion there.
Yeah, and this is about the level we are in August. We're in I'm sorry, in September. In September, this is more September like right over here. August, we're still doing around 830 contracts signed a month. But once you get into September, you're in around the 650s, 650, 660. September, January are two slowest periods of our calendar year. And I just want to point out, you got 159 contracts going off market, 155 coming on. So you got a net deficit of just 4 there. And that's before you even look at off market. I mean, off market's at a high level right now. It is clear that some sellers are just not getting the bid that they want, so they're going off market. It is something that should be talked about, but is rarely talked about. We'll see what happens with that off market inventory after the Labor Day weekend, and that way it comes back on, Johnny. But I want to point out before we go to the chart du jour, if I go to my 30-day and I look at my contract signed, I always like to look at contract signed, and that's a 30-day moving window, so it's telling you how we're going to kind of end. It's at 833. Right? But if I go to the UrbanDigs search and I use my little historical status search tool and I just look at the month of August so far, it's at 699. So I'm just questioning whether or not we're going to get up to that average over the next 5 days when the data fills in here.
I mean, it's certainly going to be close, right? I mean, the next 5 days is going to be the slowest of the month. But it's going to be interesting to see how close we get.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I want to point out now. If we close below that, and now we see September close below that historical average level, we may have to have a conversation over there. But for now, the shift down has occurred. And what is that shift down? What does it look like in terms of price action? I don't know. Let's take a look. Let's see what we can do, Johnny. We got this data. Okay, this is a look at quarterly data, and we're going to take a sneak peek early look at Q3. Is Q3 over? No. Is it early? Yes, but we're going to look at it anyway. And when we look at it in this manner, this is average sales price. Not the best way of looking at data, but it's the most dramatic way of looking at data. And it's also what the industry does look at. When I look at average sales price and I look at Q3 of where we are right now, it shows about an 8-9% decline from Q2 of last year. And you can see where we are at based on Q3 of last year. We're kind of just above Q3 of last year, but we are below the Q2 peak of just a quarter ago.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So we look at that 3Q21 and then you start going right, fourth quarter, first quarter. So we're going to start comparing to these two, right? So we're comparing to sort of the lowest bar of the last, year and a half. So the more bars we get into the future, the higher bars we're going to be comparing to. So, right now, if we're looking at early look, right, prices are down roughly, 5 to 8%, depending on which metric you're using. That could be a little bit higher in the coming months here as these reports come out. And my takeaway from this is you need to start managing expectations, because buyers are going to be seeing this report coming out, what, end of October or end of September, I suppose, early October, and they're going to want to bid
Yes.
accordingly. Oh, prices are down, let's bid accordingly. But we've already been through that slowdown, and we've already kind of stabilized. So that's going to be an interesting conversation, because sellers are not going to be wanting to hear that.
Yeah, and exactly. And it's all about messaging. It's all about messaging.
Right.
Those followers of UrbanDigs are starting to realize the service that we provide is helping turn data into the right messaging for the market talking points that we need to know month to month, week to week, year to year, et cetera. And we were giving that signal to buy side, send that message to buyers 3-4 months ago that this market's shifting down. Prepare for it. Now you got to say it's kind of here, and those numbers are going to start rolling out. And you're right, Johnny. We got Q4 21 to compare to. And we got Q1 2022 this year and Q2 of this year to ultimately compare to down the road. So if you think year over year figures, the next 3 quarters or so are going to be rough in terms of what we're comparing to. Very interesting stuff indeed. Thank you, Johnny Walkup, for pulling up all of this data for everyone to see. I am Noah Rosenblatt. We are both from UrbanDigs. Don't forget, if you guys got questions, we got answers. We got our forum right down over here. If you want any of the charts that Johnny pulled up today, they're going to be right over here in just a couple of minutes. Please take a look at this buy side alert, first wave down complete. And if you have never tried UrbanDigs before, give it a try. 2 weeks free. Don't cost nothing. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend. This has been your Manhattan Weekly Market Update, and we'll catch you next time.